Hey classes, it's Mr. Spear here. We're going to continue our discussion about Baroque era music, and today we're going to look at just a couple of things that help make that time period the music sound the way that it does. There's a couple of things that you ought to know about the melodic line, about the way the rhythm is done, how the music is expressed, and the form that it takes. We learn all these things in English literature as well when we're talking about poetry or talking about that kind of thing. And so in music, it doesn't matter what era it is, whether it's Baroque, Renaissance music, or classical, Romantic era, or even our modern music, all has some of the same type things. So Baroque style music often has melodies that are fast, that are driven, to help create that energy. You might have heard me play something like this. That's by J.S. Bach, and I play that sometimes to introduce the violin, but it's very driving, very fast. Often the rhythm is very steady, and it doesn't ebb and flow like if I were to play something like this. That would be something, that would be kind of a melody that would be about 100 years later in the Romantic era that has a lot of ebb and flow to it. A lot of times the music, again, is just very steady and the pulse is just driven. So if I were to play this. That's one of the Brandenburg concertos, but also by J.S. Bach. It just stays very steady as it goes. Dynamically, sometimes in class, some of your teachers may really get into what they're saying, be louder, or they just back off a little bit, be a little quieter. Sometimes it helps to make the point be a little clearer, have more clarity. Sometimes we can use dynamics as we talk to really drive like a point, or just to be more interesting. You wouldn't want to always listen to people that sound exactly the same. So we call that dynamics, and in music, that's one of the ways that we express ourselves. So a lot of times Baroque music would either be loud or soft in contrast. So if I played something like this, then this section will be softer to contrast what we just did. Then this is loud again. So we had an A section that was loud, and then the B section we had was very soft. And then we went back to the A section, which is called the recapitulation. That's a big word for you. And then the form that particular piece took is an ABA form. So those are some of the ways that Baroque music was formed and structured, and a lot of it has that same form and structure. Like if you even listen to multiple pop songs today, a lot of them sound very similar because they're just structured the same. So if you were listening to a song that had like a verse and then a chorus, and then they have like a bridge, and then it goes back to the chorus, maybe a second or a third verse, it's just form takes a good structure. So Baroque music was no different. A lot of times you just had two, maybe even three different, lost my train of thought. Two or three different forms within that. All right, so one other thing that I want to talk about is as players advanced, they would do a lot of ornamentation in their music. So what I mean by that, you know how like if you were put up your Christmas tree and it's just a tree, and then you put the lights on it, and then you put all the ornaments on there. All the ornaments and stuff is just extra, kind of like when you put sprinkles on a cupcake. So a lot of advanced musicians do the same types of things, so it doesn't sound so fancy. Vocalists do the same thing for all my chorus students. So think about like even your pop artists today, like Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston, and when they were singing, they would put all these the fluctuations in their voice and do all these trills and ornaments to make it a little more interesting. So if I was singing like Amazing Grace, and I went, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. If I want to put ornaments, that saved a wretch like me. So you'll put all that stuff, makes it a little more interesting. When we do instrumentally, we do the same type of things by adding trills. So the more advanced that you get, the more that kind of thing you can do. Helps make the music more interesting. Sports players do the same thing too as they get better, and they like basketball players or football players know how to, when they're driving, they do a little like a shake or whatever, and it helps people not miss tackles and stuff. So no matter what skill you're doing, the better you get at it, the more you're able to improvise and put all these little trills and ornaments in there. So. But this is some of the ways that made Baroque music stand out, and the reason why people liked it. So as you listen to the videos that I put that I'm going to attach to your assignment today, you might want to listen to some of those things. There's going to be a lot of things that you can listen to, and also please make sure that when you do your assignment, you hit the submit button. A lot of people are forgetting to do that. And I'm wondering if the reason why we have people that aren't turning in their assignments is because they're missing a step. They're missing that step. So please make sure you turn it in order to receive credit that you have done that. I miss you guys, and I will see you as soon as I can. Bye.